Right now, guys all around the world want to be valuable because valuable men tend to get what they want far more often than men who are of a lower value. What you're about to learn is a simple and extremely effective way to basically 100 times your value, and it doesn't matter what you look like, how you dress, or even how much money you make. Think back to when you were a kid and your parents told you to never open the door at the end of the hallway. Just the act of telling you to never open this door most likely made you want to open the door even more. As when someone tells us that we can't have something, paradoxically, it actually makes us want it even more. And one of the most important things that you can ever learn also happens to be one of the least understood. And this is the concept of value. Not too long ago, researchers ran a study by placing two identical jars in a room. One jar had 2 cookies and one had 10. Next thing they did was ask participants to tell them which jar they thought was more valuable. Now, most people would probably think that the jar with 10 cookies would be the most valuable since it has more cookies. But it was actually the jar with only 2 cookies that was rated as having the highest value, despite having 8 less cookies in it than the other jar. Another example is gold. Right now, gold is very rare because there isn't a lot of it available. If you could walk outside and reach into the ground and pull up a handful of gold right now, at this very moment, it would no longer be a rare, valuable resource. What many guys don't realize is that this same principle applies to people, and more specifically to men. People or things who are less available are perceived to be more valuable. But here's the problem. Most guys don't actually know how to correctly take advantage of this weird little quirk of human psychology and use it to their advantage. What you're about to learn is how to do this the right way so that you can nearly 100 times your value as a man in the eyes of most people. Now, to understand how to use this effectively, you have to understand that as humans, the things that cause us the most discomfort emotionally are feelings of regret, loss, and missed opportunity. Imagine you're single and looking for short-term relationships and you're sitting on a train. And as you're sitting there, you turn your head to the right and you see a beautiful girl walking along the train. As you both make eye contact, you feel instant electricity. And this girl is easily far better looking than any girl that you've ever been with in your life. So the next thing that happens is that she types her phone number into her phone and walks towards the window to show you so that you can add it to your phone. But right as she's getting up to the window, your train pulls away and you never see her again. Immediately, you think about what you probably just lost or missed out on because your train pulled away. And even years later, you still feel negative emotions because of what happened that day. As humans, we are far more motivated to do things or take actions that help us avoid losing something than we are to take actions to gain new things. This is one of the main reasons why people in a relationship are able to avoid leaving their longtime partner for someone new, because the feeling of loss that they would experience is far greater than the feeling of gaining something new. Science has shown us again and again that humans, even men, are primarily emotional creatures, which means that when we are in the moment, we tend to act using our emotions, and then later we use logic to justify what we did. This proves that emotions are incredibly powerful, and they rule over us in ways that most of us never even realize. So if you can tap into the emotions of other people, you can cause amazing things to happen. So how do you become the cookie jar with only 2 cookies? Or in other words, how do you convert yourself into a scarce resource? And this is where things get a little bit tricky. Most guys think that the best way to tap into the power of emotions and loss aversion is to physically pull away from a girl that they like. But what if you could become a man who is rare, sought after, and 100 times more valuable without doing that? The problem is that most guys actually do this wrong. And this principle works not just for females, but also for men, for jobs, and for basically anything else in life. So the most effective way to do this is emotionally. Now, when it comes to females, there are 2 main times when you can do this. The first is when a girl tries to get closer to you, and the second is when she pulls away from you. A girl who is trying to get closer to you might do it via flirting or by doing something like spending more time with you physically, texting you more often, or doing other things that show that she likes you. A girl pulling away from you is all of these things, but basically in reverse, such as spending less time with you, texting you less often, and so on. In either of these situations, the best way to dramatically increase your value and transform yourself into a scarce resource is to pull away. But you don't want to pull away entirely, but instead, do it just enough to show her that you are valuable and that your time and attention are scarce resources. So for example, you met this girl a few days ago and you're texting back and forth, and she sends you a text asking you to hang out that day, but instead of saying yes right away, you tell her that you can't because you've got the day reserved for your friends. But on top of not hanging out with her, you're also not going to text her anymore that day to convert not just your physical presence, but also your attention into a scarce resource. Paradoxically, as humans, we always seem to want the one thing that we think we can't have. And when someone plays hard to get, we are motivated to want and chase that thing that we can't have even more, because we don't want to feel the loss of missing an opportunity. So whether it's a job that you want, a cute girl that you like, or anything else that you want in life, transform yourself into a scarce resource, and paradoxically, you might just find that whatever it is that you want ends up falling right into your lap. This is one of the easiest ways to basically 100 times your value. And with that said, until next time, thanks for watching.